Good evening. Welcome back to Savannah by Night, our Vampire the Masquerade game here on Knights of Silvermoon. Unfortunately, it is the last game of 2024. We'll be back in 2025, preferably on the first day, depending on how people are hungover or not from New Year's. But barring that, we should be back with all new games, not just on Wednesday, but Tuesday, and our intermittent Friday Star Wars game, and any other potential things that are coming up in the new year that have been actively discussed or are being discussed in secret. But you can find out information about that on our Discord and our socials, where we post all our upcoming games and everything else. When we invite you to come hang out with us, we play all kinds of silly games in the Discord, sometimes Jackbox, sometimes Conan. Mostly just watching nonsense and faffing about is really what we do. So this just without a camera. But that's all I have to say from me. Does anyone else have any announcements, anything to plug? Oh, okay. Well, we will be resuming in the new year. We look forward to having you. Please stick around. Now, let's play a vampire game, shall we? Last time on Savannah by Night, Cora took to some of Leland's advice and started to lean in when her derangement presented itself rather than shying away, exploring it, seeing what insights it can potentially give her, if any. And while that seemed productive, there were other lessons for her to learn. A call from her clan whip put her on the road to acquiring a cooler bag of blood from an EMT. An awkward, nearly hostile interaction ensued until Cora relented and told him the name of the woman that sent her. Immediately resolving the tension, getting the bag, and heading to her drop-off point. The click of a readying shotgun urged her into more quickly yielding up her contact's name as she brought the cooler to a fellow clanmate, one Ira Bracken. If there was one lesson for her to learn, it's that in the South, one always says grace. And I can't say that with a straight face. Artem finally managed to get a few wardrobe items that were not simply the clothes on his back that he arrived with, or unceremoniously borrowed from his landlord. However, the true purpose of his shopping trip, with Chris in tow, was to collect the requisite tools and supplies required for renovating Alden's home. But they were given another task. Alden instructed Artem to bring Chris to a Brujah fighting trainer so the pair of them could begin getting appropriately schooled in the art of hand-to-hand combat. Artem had the bright idea of bringing along their fellow neonate and new arrival, Tabby. Collectively, they were made aware of their comprehensive deficiencies. Each of them were given constructive criticism on how to improve, though for some it's proving to be a much, much steeper hill to climb. Meanwhile, back in the Warrens, Ellie was taking Fitz's lesson to heart that they need their own car and began the process of trying to figure out how to acquire one. Settling on less than legal means, they managed to get Lila involved in helping them think through the requirements of the crime. How, where, what. Lila provided some necessary tools and the irony of a ride, all with an extracted favor from Ellie. Given how much Lila has already done for them, perhaps that favor isn't as something that needs to be dreaded the way they think it should be. But it is Lila. Perhaps it is far worse than they can possibly imagine. Kate was summoned down to her Primogen security company, where she was introduced to a few more members of her clan and given a directive that she can work within the company, but she will be starting at the bottom rather than immediately given some cushy management role on day one. The object lesson being, everyone earns their place. It is not handed to them. To facilitate this, Deputy Owen Rook would be taking her on a ride-along to get her better acquainted with the city, its trouble spots, and, potentially, its history. And provided nothing goes terribly wrong, get started on developing some necessary combat skills of her own. So it is only appropriate that we pick up on the start of Kate's ride-along with the deputy as they leave Hutchinson Island and re-enter Savannah proper. Kate, is there anything you wish to discuss or ask him during the drive?
Not yet.
Okay then. You are threading through the city smoothly. Clearly this is a person that knows all the roads at this point like the back of his hand. Knows how to cut through traffic. Knows where the traffic is going to be. Knows all the little secret shortcuts. And perhaps the not so secret ones. But eventually, you arrive in what is called the Medical Arts District. The district is not just one single hospital, but a sprawling, multi-campus network of specialties taking up an entire portion of the city. It is a community almost entirely unto itself. You are surrounded by all manner of buildings that are dedicated to one form of medicine. It's not just a building has a single ward, it is entire buildings for one specific purpose. This is the pediatric building. This is the Heart Institute over here, and so on and so forth. But you are at the sort of main nexus points. You arrive, however, at the rear of the hospital, where, due to the sprawling nature, less cars are going to this particular building at all hours. It's more equally disseminated to all of them. You're able to find a small little outcropping where a gentleman in a white doctor's coat steps out, flicking his cigarette off into the distance, and the deputy pauses the car then and there.
As we pull into the medical plaza, I'd like to ask, so does the hospital have a contract with Veritas?
For the sake of ease, we're going to do this as you're getting into the area rather than as you're parking.
Mm-hmm.
So you have actually time to have the conversation.
Yeah.
everywhere has a contract with Veritas. And if they don't, they soon will. Or they don't necessarily exist for very long.
Imagine an emergency department in a large city brings all manner of people and creatures out at night.
As a result, Noah, your primogen, has eyes and ears damn near everywhere. Or people who act on behalf of those eyes and ears, and so on and so forth. Word filters very quickly. So, as the new blood, I would keep that in mind. Anything else before we meet our contact?
Try to keep my eyes and ears open.
Have you had much experience with the Tremere?
Would I have?
You would have known some, but you wouldn't have witnessed anything that they've done. You would have heard what they are, what they do, more or less how they do it, but you don't really have any first-hand knowledge.
Had limited contact.
Any first-name basis?
Sorry, me Dreamy is not following. My brain is.
Any first-name basis with any of them?
Would I?
You can tell me if you think you would have made a contact in that realm. You made inroads with at least one or two clans?
I guess it depends on how prevalent they would have been at DC's Elysium, because I know, like, amongst fledglings towards the end of my time there.
We'll go with last name basis.
Okay.
Well, you're about to meet one that works here. He would be good to at least know about. He often provides a bit of information about what's going on in there when we need it. Not the only one, but good to have one of us directly. For obvious reasons. Now, obviously, be careful what you say to him. We are in a more public setting. So this is part of the test of learning how to speak in public while still saying everything we need to.
Moonlight is staff here.
Interesting choice of words. Moonlighting implies that he has a main job and works here on the side. But in a more literal sense, yes. Ah, there he is now. And as the Escalade rolls up and the gentleman outside flicks his cigarette off into the distance, he is going to open the back door, or one of the rear passenger doors, and hop on in. And for a moment at least, the car will continue, finding a quieter, dimmer part of a parking structure still within the campus. This is Elston Talbot. Kate Fulton.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Dr. Talbot.
Doctor. Didn't go to school for that many years to not have it used. So how can I help you tonight? Well, I am taking Miss Fulton here on a bit of a tour around some of our more problem areas. Ah, I see. Talbot will shift to sit in the middle of the rear seats as he looks to you. Tell me, you were in DC, yes? Did I remember correctly?
Yes.
Hospitals would tend to be a bit of a nexus for activity for one reason or another. Either accidents or disasters end up there, or people are trying to steal from it rather constantly. Is that your experience? Well, many are simply trying to steal blood and a few supplies. But typically, it's either new arrivals or Sabbat. Though they are loath to admit it, they occasionally still have to use bagged blood. Practicality doesn't elude them entirely. Now, I suppose you two are wanting a tour. And he does look at you. No tour?
I'll cut my eyes to Rook for just a second to kind of see if this is like a thing.
He is also looking at you to
Okay.
see what you do.
If you've got the time for it.
We have the time for it. He's going to kill the engine, and the three of you are going to go through the labyrinth that is any parking structure that leads into a hospital, especially one as massive as this one. You do adhere to the main building rather than all of them, as this is just to give you an idea of the scale of the operation, the scale of the security, as you are being subtly directed to cameras, procedures, how they keep people out, how they keep people in, how they enforce such things. Letting you know that it is not impossible, but far from easy, from just stealing things, moving bodies. Unless you have people in the inside helping to facilitate it.
At this moment, I would like to establish that when she was in grad school, Kate had a roommate who was in med school. Because I can't help pulling the hospital part of my brain into this situation right now, and that will give that a little bit of validity. So I will ask about doors that get locked during evening hours and how that may help funnel things at night, places to focus at, ask about like ER entrances, lab.
Okay. Talbot's going to sort of tilt your head in your direction, look to Rook, who just sort of directs his attention for Talbot to start answering those questions. And he'll start giving you some specifics, not all of them, mind you. It's a first conversation. But he is definitely giving you the impression that there are a wide variety of procedures in place, and even what some of them are, so that you have a firm understanding that, yes, security is taken very seriously. And the way that Rook seems to react to it all is that he knew it all by heart. That it was either security advice provided by Veritas, or maybe even he was one of the people involved in providing that advice.
Are there any variety of employee badges? Physician versus regular employee, or is it standard? To look out in case someone might be trying to sneak in.
There are a variety of badges for different access and different expectations. Some obviously open some doors and some don't. Security and privacy concerns as well. For example, just because we employ the security services doesn't mean that they get access to everything at all hours either.
I imagine HIPAA applies regardless of just all of this.
Sorry, can you say that again for me?
I said I imagine HIPAA still applies.
You do see him look around briefly for a moment, up to a point. It is rendered null and void under our highest rule, which I'm assuming you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Good. HIPAA is important. It's a good starting point. But it can't get in the way of practicality. As he winds you through a few corridors, letting you sort of just understand a little bit of like how to navigate it correctly, because it does get very confusing in certain hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to give you more of that rundown so you're not instantly lost if you ever have to come here on your own for whatever reason. Because there's always some way to orient yourself in these kind of places without the you are here sign. There's a certain logic and structure to how they're done, even if they are obtuse. But it seems like he's focused on the practical matters and some of the smaller questions, if you have any, especially if they're more mundane. He's a lot more readily answering that. But if you stray into things that are much more hinting at something supernatural, without even just saying it's like that's going to be a different conversation somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. And some of the more mundane things I'll ask is, like color of uniforms of who would raise less of an eyebrow transporting things like blood throughout the hospital. So I know in a lot of places, different departments have different colors, and seeing someone in pink scrubs who you might find on labor and delivery might be odd if they're carrying around a contains human
biomatter.
Yeah.
There is some discussion of that. Some of it seems like it's fairly standard and congruent with what one might expect, but some of it is more broad, maybe intentionally a little confusing, or made vague in order to facilitate the less than HIPAA compliant things that they need to do for the sake of the masquerade and such. So, are there any specific questions you want to ask either of them at this point?
No, I've kind of covered broad strokes. But yeah, Kate's going to be asking those things about scrubs, about badges and different things to keep in mind. Okay, if I'm here to learn in these problem areas, what to look out for.
The main thing you'll notice for the most part is that Rook is quite silent. But in a way that you get is almost approving. Like you are asking correct questions. You are exuding the Ventru panache for logistics and thinking through a stack of concerns and issues in prioritized ways. The only time he really seems to pipe up is when he's just adding information or trying to clarify something. But otherwise, he seems to just be content to let you continue asking what seems to be the right questions for this particular place. The thing that he does step into more is when he's pointing out how the actual security works. Like where certain cameras are, why they are there, and not in certain other places. Some of it makes complete sense, some of it seems counterintuitive. But maybe it's because security isn't your game.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe there is some other reason.
And on some of those counterintuitive things, I'll ask, because if it is a security thing, I want to learn. But if it's for other reasons, then maybe try to pick up on, like, oh, I can start to pick up that's that way because masquerade business. Stuff like that.
You get on some of that a bit of a will neither confirm nor deny. Some of it seems to be more like that's not for you to know, or that's for you to figure out.
Okay.
Part of the test of it. Some of it he does confirm, but you are left wondering which one is which, and if he's entirely telling the truth. And it doesn't seem in a snooty, looking down on you type of way. It's more trying to get you to think, why is it that way? Instead of just handing you the answer.
Yeah, so as we walk and the more things that get pointed out, I'm going to try to build connections. And I know we haven't gone into like specifics here because this is a hospital security scene, but see if, and I don't even know if there's anything you want me to roll to try to make those connections as we make the tour.
What kind of connections are you trying to establish?
Just those kind of things, answer those questions that he's leaving open-ended for me to figure out of, why a camera might be pointing this way but not that way, or...
I would go with perception alertness. If you really want to figure out why anything is the way it is. And because this isn't really your area, we're going to put this at a 7.
Okay. 1 success because I got a 1.
Okay. You're having a hard time really sussing it out on your own. You see some pattern to the logic, but other parts of it are eluding you. And he can see that you're he can see that you're trying, but he can also see that you're struggling. So he will give you one for free of that one is there because it catches the reflections in a part of the building no one else would be able to see them. Can you tell me why if reflections would be important without telling me out loud?
Because of the nature of certain unreflectionable.
Close enough. He leans in like it's less of an issue here, but there are a lot of cities where that's a large concern.
And a concern in the past?
It's always a concern now. Vigilance leads to less concern. So, as the tour, unless you had any further thoughts on that. Okay. As you are led through the building he focuses more on the first 2 floors. He's not taking you through, say, like the morgue. He's not taking you through like an ICU or anything beyond just that is the ICU. He'll walk you through some of the procedures around it, but he's not going to walk you through it. He's not going to walk you through the ER, but he will show you where it is and a couple of the procedures around it. It has less to do with I don't trust you, and you get more the impression those are busy. So you don't need to be there right now causing more headaches for anyone else. He is very matter of fact. He's not browbeating. He's not joking around with you at any point. He's not humorless, but he's just, I'm getting this done. We're going to be efficient. We're going to be scientific about it. and then everybody goes in their merry, happy way. But in no point are you getting a, I am trying to hurry you out.
Mm-hmm. So what is your
Or towards the
specialty?
end. Blood work.
Hematologist?
There we go. Someone has to do it.
Seems appropriate.
Imminently required. Considering this city's history was blood-borne disease.
If no one goes into that, I'm going to file that away to Google later as Kate.
How much research did you do before coming to the city?
I would have researched. I wasn't just going to show up.
Okay. Did you go back to how the city was first formed? Did you go back that far?
Yeah, Kate would have.
Okay. Part of the opening narration of this campaign talked about yellow fever and how it has swept through the city numerous times.
Remind me, the player is that like a mosquito?
Amongst other things, yeah.
Okay.
It's just the most blatant vector, I
Gotcha.
believe.
Now I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole and Google on break.
Yeah, there's a lot of ick, but you knew that there was a lot of plague-like awful that happened in this city's past. While it's not recent, it's almost as if there's a certain vigilance that's been instilled as a result, in theory. So keeping a wary eye on such things is to everyone's collective benefit, you might agree. You'll see, Rook, I would like for you to exchange numbers. I will be bringing Miss Fulton around to, maybe not often, but she might be engaging in doing security here going forward among some of the other institutions. It'd be good to have, well, a properly like-minded contact. I see. I think that would be appropriate, Miss Fulton.
And I'll exchange numbers with Dr. Talbot.
Please add that to your contact list. Well, assuming there's nothing else, I do have to get back to work.
Certainly. Good to meet you, Dr. Talbot. Thank you for the tour.
Miss Fulton. And you'll notice he doesn't show you out. One of two reasons. One, Rook should know his way out by now. Two, how much were you paying attention? So I'm going to have you roll for that.
Okay. What am I rolling?
Make me an argument. The only thing I can really think of right now is intelligence and perception. How much were you watching?
Both of those are the same for me. So what would you have me pair it with?
Alertness. So that would be the only thing I could really think of. So yeah, intelligence, alertness would be my main thought.
Okay. And what is my...
We're just going to go with 6.
Okay. 3. This is the first time I've rolled a 10. Do I roll that 10 again?
So you got 3 successes, no ones?
No ones. And one of those successes is a 10.
Okay, so you got 3, now re-roll the 10.
Okay. That is an additional success.
Nice. So 4. You
Thank you guys for agreeing with the story.
Yes. Well, the story is whatever the dice would say at that point.
Yeah. Thankfully, the dice are kind.
Tara. Love me some Sam Cam.
Oh, I'm so happy I just read Sam's lips.
So you have no issue getting back to the car. Maybe even finding a quicker way than what you were let in from.
There are a lot of different ways to get to the same place in a hospital.
Very many. Especially if you know the protocols for which door does what. You know how to avoid dead ends. Or at least things that are made dead ends despite actually being doors.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure several that exit but do not enter at this time of night.
Mm-hmm. So you get back in the car and you start doing a small tour from the car of the myriad, multitudinous campus that is the Medical Arts District. It's giving you a more fulsome image of what the entire area looks like, how it connects to the major arteries. Intentional pun if you were not paying attention to that.
And I'll tell Rook then. I'll just go. I had a roommate for a few years who did medical school and then residency.
Well, good thing you held on to that.
You have to listen to a lot.
So, any takeaways?
A good place to have eyes and ears at.
Mm-hmm.
A place you have to learn quickly to separate the town drunk from a vampiric disturbance. Or one might be using the distraction of the other.
Ah, there we go. Though, luckily, more of those things tend to show up in the drunk tank than they do at the hospital. Usually. If nothing else, then the main police department has proximity to where all the bars are. Most of them.
And after a time, I'm sure ED staff get to know their regulars.
And, as we've established in here, we have eyes and ears everywhere. So the ones that don't match the pattern are quickly sussed out. So that's more on my side of things and Sheriff Vega's. Now, you were asked a little bit about the history of this place. Any questions about the other side of that history while we're at it?
Just so I'm as a player following, what is he insinuating with that?
As in, do you have any questions about local vampiric history while you have his attention?
Gotcha. So I know that the prince has held on since the Civil War. How long has Veritas been established?
35, 40 years.
How long have you been a part of Veritas?
Well, now that would be telling.
Never ask a deputy his age.
Now, the problem is I'm not really part of Veritas anymore.
True.
In the traditional sense, due to what I do. I'm more of a consultant at this point.
And I'm assuming at one point you were more traditionally enmeshed in Veritas.
Indeed. But in order to have a certain amount of separation, I have to extricate myself from such things up to a point. But abandoning a hard-won skill set also serves no one. So, fine line. Anything strange you've noticed about this city, its court, its makeup?
Me and Dreamy is taking a second to think through.
Would you like to take a moment to think through some questions, and I'll move over to another scene and we can pick up with that afterwards?
Much obliged.
Okay. Give you a moment. Okay. Miss Violante. Do you need a minute to continue writing some notes, or are you good?
I am all right. Let's proceed.
Okay. You are just leaving Ira Bracken's house. What's your plan now? You've had a somewhat interesting evening.
I
Few
have.
choice meetings, few by design, few by accident. What do you want to do?
I think I will go ahead and open my phone and send Grace a text message.
Okay. What's the content of the message?
The message will be, "Job's done. What's next?" Understanding that there were some calls that Ira needed to make as well before I stepped out. She may not get it immediately. So I'm going to send the message and then get in my car and I suppose let's go for a little drive.
Okay.
No particular destination in mind. I have a little free time now before I figure out what's next for me as I'm waiting for both Leland and Grace to potentially get back to me with a housing lead.
So, tell me then, where are you hoping to meander on this little drive? You've had a bit of a tense couple of moments. How do you want to unwind?
All right. I've started to get a feel for downtown now these past few nights, but I haven't so much the other areas of the city, the parts between where I am now, between Wormslow and downtown. There's a vast network of neighborhoods and thoroughfares that I could cruise along. So I'm going to head out of this 1950s homes ranch style area and out onto one of the main roads and sort of drive south for a little bit and then swing towards the coast and make my way back up. Maybe if I see a cemetery on the way, I will slow down and either pause to roll down my window with my heightened senses on, or get out for a minute and just peer over to see what I might be able to see. That ever-present curiosity of Cora's striking up again after she unwinds from the drive itself. Some of the I sort of botched that initial meeting a little bit. Jitters out of the way.
You're trying to exorcise some of that frustration, self-recrimination a bit.
Precisely the way that she would do with her work at her old life.
Being a neonate at crime.
Indeed.
Well, so you were going north along the coastline, yeah? Trying to get just a feel for some of the areas, seeing some of the neighborhoods, some of the streets, some of like even the water on your right side as you're veering up north, making your way eventually in that bend towards like downtown Savannah is what you're trying to do.
Yes, eventually I suppose I will end up looping that direction rather than going out towards Tabby. I don't think that's on the agenda tonight.
Might be a bit far. I will say that your path would bring you interestingly close to Bonaventure Cemetery. So, do you stop? Do you just slow down? What's your game here?
I'll downshift for now. Is some error? Are the roads very populated right now?
No.
Would I make any kind
It's
of
quite
scene
late.
if I were to slow down and stop?
Only if you were to stop like in the middle of the road. You'd have to pull over to the side. If you wanted to be more inconspicuous, you'd basically have to pull into Bonaventure, whichever. I can't remember what it's called right now.
I'll pull off to the side of the road, kill my lights, and, well, I guess I want my senses to do their work. I'll hit the, this vehicle, I believe, is a new enough model that I will touch the ignition button and shut it off.
Okay.
And take a little listen.
So you are trying to listen for what exactly?
She doesn't know. She's heard so much now about things that are real.
So like,
what's out there?
You're opening yourself to the possibility you're going to hear ghosts.
Are there phantoms? Are there zombies? Is there a necromancer out there right now? I know those are real.
You've heard of people claiming that's what they are. What is the veracity of that claim?
Oh, she doesn't know yet. She hasn't touched the sun yet in this instance.
Yes, that worked out so well for her before.
Well, she did discover something.
Fire indeed hot. If you want to be more inconspicuous, you'd have to pull into the cemetery itself instead of just the road.
I think there's a bit of nerves with actually going that far with it. But,
well, you know what we say on this channel. Commit to your bullshit.
She will adhere to our own extra little bit there at the bottom of the rules of participating in this hidden society. So yes, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's drive in just a little bit.
So, I was not prepared for anyone actually going there tonight, so this is me having to remember what this place looks like on the fly. So give me just one moment, please.
You know, if Cora doesn't find anything tonight and needs to wait before for calling Costello back, that's all right. This is just a little peek before she goes and does other more meaningful activities.
Much like Wormslow, you have those elms with Spanish moss hanging over absolutely everything like some sort of looming specter. Seems only fitting for where we are tonight. Well, the gate to the actual cemetery itself is closed to cars. There are still places for you to park and simply hop over the insubstantial fence.
I think she will go ahead and do that, hearing her crunch of her feet on the gravel.
Now, what's very interesting about this cemetery is due to the marshland that it is right next to, it's almost like the ground just above a beach, where it's that sort of sandy blend of dirt and really scrubby grass that's not really overgreened. It's a little dingy. But in the height of summer, it almost seems vibrant despite that, despite the fact that it's at night. It is quite dimly lit, probably by design. The dead don't need lights.
Cora's going to, in an act of pretending to brag and entice, but also a bit of a if I happen to disappear, she's going to send a group message to Artem and Chris. And
Just those two.
Just those two, because I
not
think
the group chat
she might be a
entirely.
little embarrassed to tell the more professional Kate or the more urban Poppy that she is doing this. You know what? She could probably include Tabby in this message as well.
Okay.
So
I would say the two of them are a little busy.
but she's just gonna message. Went to the cemetery. Does it say Bonaventure like anywhere on the gate? And she'll put the name, and then put a little like ghost emoji.
Boo bye. We will get to their reaction to that a little later. So you're going to start meandering through the cemetery. You said you want to extend your senses and try and... So you have heightened senses activated, is what you're saying so far. You know that aura perception at this point isn't really going to give you much of anything unless you are staring at a particular thing, and like all person, you have to have an object to fix on. You can't just do a wide sonar ping in that way.
Let's say if in this little meander, and she doesn't want to go way deep into the cemetery tonight, but if she happens to come across like a particularly old mausoleum or something, she will use her aura perception to try to peer through the bars.
So while there are some mausoleum-like structures in Savannah, strangely enough, there are none in Bonaventure. Or at least they're so small as to not really be counted as such. They're more like daises with built-in shelves. The very few that there are barely more than a shed in terms of size. They're still stone or marble, whatever kind of mined substance they're going to use for that, but small, few and far between. So you're going to try and extend aura perception through the bars.
Yes.
You, without having to make you roll, you're not going to get anything.
Okay. Cora is...
But would you like to roll perception? Awareness.
Would I like to, or must I?
This is a choice.
Let's go.
Now, it's important that I said awareness and not alertness. Do you have awareness on your sheet?
I think she has a little tiny amount of awareness.
Okay.
But not a lot. Yes. She's got a single awareness.
Okay. This is going to be a little difficult. We're going to put this at an 8. Do you want to spend willpower?
Does Cora want to use willpower to sleuth
Mm.
She's got plenty of willpower. She could just get into a race or something later. It'll be fine.
Mm.
Yes. Let's do it. I want to see. I want to know.
Okay.
Right. We'll use one.
Okay. And you're marking down temporary, not your permanent, right?
Yes.
Making sure.
I've clicked a square and filled it in. Now we shall roll. That is the only success that I received out of that. But I didn't have any cancellations.
Okay. So the fun thing is that when you spend a willpower, even if you got all ones, are you listening, Tara? That it would not screw you over. You would still have your one willpower success.
Excellent. So that's it. That's all I get.
Okay.
I get my willpower success, but I don't have any baddies in there either.
All right. You don't see anything in any of the mausoleums or any of the graves, tombstones, plots. As you close your eyes, you start listening. You hear something imperceptible, almost like that infrasound, where it's both there and not there, and frustratingly so, like something scratching at the side of your skull, moving across the inside of it, over your eyes. And you get a direction.
Oh goodness.
Do you want to walk even further into the cemetery or no?
God. I hate that so here are lovely viewers. I am approaching a situation where Iskra would turn around, but Cora's dumb. Well, she's not. She's not dumb. But she does let her curiosity get the better of her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I must.
Mm-hmm.
Can I now also check my text messages? See if anyone's responded to me to give me an excuse to do something differently.
Well, out of character.
Or continue. Yes.
What does you as the player want to do? Do you want to have an excuse to back out? Or do you want to see how far the rabbit hole goes?
I'm so curious. I'm very curious. But if so, I guess if one of the players has messaged me back, then that's fine.
I would say Tabby, Chris, Artem are too busy with their fighting training to be looking at their phones right now.
Okay. Cora's going to message the normal group chat now. And say...
So are you telling me in character that Cora is now feeling so much trepidation that she's messaging the group chat to try and talk herself out of this?
Yes.
Okay.
But she's like, I'm thinking about doing this, but if nobody responds to me, then I'm going for it.
What exactly are you sending to the group?
She's going to say... Bonaventure at night solo, taking this all too seriously? Haha. Vampire emoji.
I'd say a couple of seconds later, you would get a message with Poppy saying, "Lol, girl, what?"
Would I know that Bonaventure's a big old cemetery?
You tell me. Would you have looked into something like that? Or would you at least, what the hell's Bonaventure, and then look it up since you're not the one driving right now?
Give me 2 seconds.
What comes up?
I'm pulling up Savannah on Google Maps.
Mm-hmm. You would be a bit of a ways away.
Uh-huh. I'm just trying to see if, like, in looking over the city as a whole, if it would pop up as something like I would have seen and, like, the name would catch.
Wish me luck, ellipses.
It is a rather substantial portion of the map, I will say that.
Where is it on the map?
Oh, I feel like that answers it.
Okay, then I'll write back. Like, where am I getting this message at?
The group chat.
No, I mean, like, where am I?
I would say
when in time.
this is... You've left the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on that sort of outer tour, going towards meandering towards the proper city, as you were about to have some more questions and conversations with Rook. So do you look at your phone when you're on business?
I'll give it a quick glance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Cora and Poppy wrote back, so no, I don't think I'm gonna respond. I'm at work. This is group chat. It's not the prince calling, so.
Okay. Poppy didn't express extreme concern, so let's go. How's my cell service? Am I good for a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
There were questions around cell service that no one followed up on. I'm just going to leave that one where it is. But presently it is working.
Okay.
So what are you doing?
Here we go. Here we go. Let's get closer to that scary sound. I've got celerity. I can run.
But for how long? So, you start walking ever denser. Every further into the denser part of the cemetery. No car. You've left that long behind. It is eerie quiet. All you hear is a little bit of wind rustling through the trees. A constant textured din.
I think Cora's going to swear to herself in German. Her work language.
But the only sound that seems out of place is that constant infrasound that you can't really perceive, but you know is there. Getting louder, louder, louder. Until we go to break. Because that's a good time to do it. Welcome back. We left off with Cora taking an impromptu trip to the cemetery. And now we're about to find out if that's where she will remain. Just before break, as Cora wondered further and further into the cemetery until it is its own little plotted world where Savannah and the rest of Chatham County seems to not exist. There's only the wind rustling through elms draped with Spanish moss and the eye-piercing sound of the infra going through her mind, calling her to a potential source. Any last words? No.
Here we go.
Your feet carry you, almost of their own volition. Unless... Do you want to spend willpower to cut and run now?
Oh, wow.
Or do you want to see what's waiting for you?
You have to spend willpower to be able to leave at this point. It's true, because Cora would, by nature, and I described this earlier. Well, I guess we'll just let everyone see it. You know, there was one time when she did break through a instance like this, where she felt compelled to take an action, but found a moment to pause and turn around. But oh God, you know what my answer's gonna be. Okay, well, she's been a fun character. Let's see what's there.
You keep plodding through.
Yeah.
I need to hear you say it if we're going to be doing this.
Okay, yes.
Okay. As that infrasound now becomes a screaming crescendo. All of a sudden, it's almost like it's not there.
Oh God.
Your vision had been clouded by that pull of the undescribable unknown. Some tug on your psyche that pulled you along its invisible rope until you are in the densest, deepest, most remote part of the cemetery. No view of the coast on either side of its paved peninsula. No sight of city lights. You're not even really sure you can get a sense of light pollution. So dense are the trees. But a sound finally pierces through. More mundane. On a bench, you see someone holding a shovel. Almost like the way someone would lean on a cane, their wrists.
Okay.
Dirty blonde hair. Having a conversation with someone. And it's almost... That's what the infrasound was, that sort of distant, imperceptible chatter traveling across the entirety of the cemetery from where you were initially standing. You still can't make it out. It was infuriating. And while you still can't make it out, you at least now have a source.
I don't recognize this person.
It's a bit dark. You'd have to get closer.
God. They're having a conversation with an empty space.
Nope, they're having a conversation with another figure. Do a perception alertness check. We're going to put it at a 7 because you're... Actually, hold on a second. You had your heightened senses up, yes?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to put it down to a 5. Sorry, no. Base difficulty is 6. You are distracted. So we're going to bring it down to a 6 despite the fact that your heightened awareness would actually bring down my 2. You're yo-yoing your difficulty line right now.
Perfect.
So you're just at a 6.
Okay, here we go. Those are good. That's canceled. This is a reroll.
You don't get you don't get a reroll if you have any 1s. It cancels 10s first.
Yes, I had 2 10s. I had 1 1, which canceled the 10.
Just making sure.
Ultimately, that is 2 successes.
That is enough. You understand, maybe not fully, but why there's a shovel. As you see dirt in a pile next to a tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
A tombstone that does not look new. What are you doing, Cora?
Oh no. I think this might be it. This might be the danger limit. I think I found it. And she's ready to just tell someone that she saw this tonight. Or maybe forget about it entirely.
You see the shape lift in their seat and crane in your direction. Cora? And you recognize the voice, but you've only had the one interaction.
All right. Italian then, right?
It's hard to say just a name in Italian.
But I'm going to respond in Italian.
Okay,
That's
what do you say?
Who's asking?
I didn't think, and they respond in Italian. I'd never expected for you to wander in when I'm working. Come on.
I'll look over.
As you walk over, you find Castello Savini sitting in a less glamorous jacket than you've seen him before. Instead, it's more of a rustic shirt rolled up around the elbows, unbuttoned. He's not sweating, but he was clearly working at something. While he's sitting on the bench, his conversation partner is wearing a full suit, though it's not in the best state at the moment. Edges are frayed, a few holes in the fabric, Hair not entirely present, and the eyes are glassy.
Ah. Incredible. Cora can't help but say.
Do you step closer as you're saying this, or?
Yeah.
Okay. As you're saying that, the glassy-eyed stare just snaps in your direction. I'm sorry, I'm watching Sam, and his nope reaction is just...
As not too keen on attention, then she's gonna try to look at Costello.
It's fine, it's fine. And he's just putting the hand on the shoulder of this gentleman. He and I were just having a necessary chat. It's okay.
How were the two of you acquainted?
Well, Mr. Pettifer here seemed to have a bit of a outstanding issue with his will that some people wanted a bit of insight into, and I figured I would just go towards the source.
I see. I can understand why what you do is so valuable.
Mr. Pettifer, would you be so kind as to say hello? That glassy-eyed stare has not left you, and it's rickety as it twitches. Not like a bird, but more with rigor mortis. It's like broken clockwork where it's trying to move in that sharp jerk, but it just doesn't take right away. There's a twitch to it as it's trying to move, as if the locomotion is resisting.
Yeah.
Hello. And it stops, as if the breath can't go all the way through.
Cora will, Mr. Pettifer?
Mr. Pettifer, I do think it's time to put you back to rest. Or would you mind grabbing his other hand?
Right.
And while there's that awful, sharp motion to the hand, it's not fluid. It's also not hostile, despite the unnatural nature of it. And while it does grab your hand with unnatural strength, it's not trying to tear pieces off of you in any way. There's more a case of a lack of fine motor control. Everything is either 0 or 100. No in between. While Mr. Pettifer does take your hand, Costello will help him up by the other one.
You've got a decent grip then. I don't want you to fall.
He does seem a little more uncomprehending. The stare isn't holding. And you notice Costello is almost consoling. Telling him how he can rest. It's okay. You can let go now. Everything's okay. The motions are less sure with every step, as if whatever's keeping him animated is finally leaking away. Costello climbs down into the open ground with the open casket. And it's as if the last amount of fine motor control was saved for the descent. As he helps Mr. Pettifer climb the 6 feet down, gently helping the man back into his casket. And almost as soon as he is in place, hands crossing back over themselves, you could hardly ever believe that he was walking around a moment ago. It seems like he was always dead. The casket is closed. Costello easily climbs back up. The way a very practiced swimmer simply pushes up on the edge of a pool as they climb out. Up and over the edge. He goes to get the shovel, and he starts filling in what he dug up.
Did you call his soul? How?
Who's to say if I call this soul? All I'm doing is giving a little bit of brief power to the old memory banks, assuming it's still working.
So it's not so good for people who've been gone a while.
No, it doesn't work that way. I want you to roll perception empathy.
Sadly, the dice do not want Cora's famous empathy to apply in this instance, and I have my first botch.
One or double?
Just one.
Okay. There is a sense of anger behind the eyes. You do not know if it's because you are there or because of the comment or for whatever conversation he was having with Mr. Pettifer. You have to wonder if what he was telling you about the reason for digging him up was valid or true.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to intrude, just... This world, it's so big. I was so curious. And then I felt something, or heard it. It's hard to describe.
He seems to be in a slight zen of reburying the casket. Not that he's not listening, but clearly in a He has done this 1,000 times. He just knows almost in his bones how to do this without really thinking. He is fully on autopilot. Not unlike the zombie that he had raised. Though as it continues, well, you should really never wander through cemeteries by yourself. Bound to run into things. Good thing you ran into them when you did. Usually at the start when they're first brought up. They're often feral. It could have gone very badly.
I think Cora has more questions, but just in the interest of not monopolizing the game, since I got a lot of spotlight last session, I'll maybe compose them for you afterwards.
Where are you parked?
The gate was locked, so back towards the entrance.
Nobody should walk through a cemetery alone. Do you mind?
Please. I'm not sure I'd know my way back, frankly.
He's going to pat down the dirt on the grave. And he's going to, seemingly very politely, wipe away any extra soot around the details on the headstone. It's not pristine and polished, but it was cleaner than when he started. Seemingly giving it some manner of respect. And he's going to sort of lift and hold the shovel behind his neck, drape his arms over it as they start to walk. Do you mind if we fade out there, or do you want to do a little bit more?
That's fine.
Okay. All right, now let's check back in with Artem and Tabby.
Oh.
So, it's been a few hours since you began your lesson in the classroom. Some of you doing better at first, worse than others, but first lesson is about finding out your weaknesses so that you can overcome them, so you have something to strive for, a goal to attain. You'll notice that throughout the course of things, she's not trying to give you any soul-crushing commentary. She will tell you where you're failing, but how to correct it. And if you don't listen, is where she's going to start giving you concussive correction. Though she does seem to take a bit of delight in it. Not cruel, but just, oh no. Anyway. Several hours of this goes by. You are both, actually, the three of you are learning something at various rates. But there is something being accomplished. when we eventually get to the point of dealing with how to spend your experience, we can use this as a justification for if you want adding to anything related to what we've been dealing with. I know for Artem, it's not just the strength aspect, it's the actual targeting, the control of it. For Tabby, it is, well, as we covered last time, dodge. You can hit, but you gotta stop getting hit yourself. So, but even though you take a good hit, you are not a glass jaw. But every time you do get hit, it gets harder and harder to get back up. And you are finding how even the vampiric body has limitations on how much punishment it can take, even from just blunt force. Definitely doesn't hurt as much as it did when you were alive, but it still hurts. Things can still break. And you can heal it if you have the blood, but that gets costly after a while. And you can see how even someone very powerful with enough sustained barrage could be felled by a smattering of people who are maybe weaker but persistent. Chris, on the other hand, has a lot to try and correct. Most of it is merely her attitude. That being said, she seems to be getting some catharsis of having something to beat the utter shit out of. It's not either of you, but once she's given the punching bag to go ham on, you notice the claws do come out at one point. There is screaming, there is rage. And at one point, tears. She's clearly putting something out there that she was holding on to. Probably still holding on to. But we don't always choose the vectors through which we get something out of our system. This just happens to be hers at the moment. Do either of you approach, or do you let her be for a while?
Tabby,
Can you just bring the music down just a tiny bit? Thank you.
Tabby almost definitely would not be engaging. Unless there was specific reason to, like violence to someone involved. Mostly just Tabby considers that is not either my jurisdiction nor something that I would know how to deal with, so.
Artem is not going to engage necessarily. When the claws come out, though, he's watching because he knows how dangerous those can be. But unless he sees anything that concerns him, he's just going to kind of let her work it out. Maybe we'll have another awkward talk on the way back about how we're doing.
Okay. You do see Havel paying attention. But like you, that's all she's doing. She's not interrupting, she's not rushing, she's just making sure that that stays exactly what it is. But she will lean into you at one point and go, that does need to be paid for. But that's all she says on the matter. It's not, haha, you're gonna have to pay me back. It's just matter of fact.
Good to know.
But eventually, you do see Chris tire herself out. And you've seen before where she's let herself go, and then there's that immediate flare of shame. And that slight shake of the shoulders as she's trying to bury her face into what remains of the punching bag.
Can Artem see if her face has changed any, or is this
Yeah, her face is
more mortal?
right up against it, so you can't.
Okay.
You'd have to go up to her.
We can wait.
What do you want to do?
We can wait then.
Okay. Now, you know what happens when your kind cries. You've seen it on her. So, Havel's going to look to the two of you. Start cleaning up. Put everything back where you found it. Anything that's too wrecked, destroy it. Burn it if you have to. But don't do it here. Starting with that bag. If neither one of you go up to Chris, Havel will. And she just approaches from the sort of far periphery, so she can kind of see her coming to an extent before she says too much, before she makes too much of an appearance by surprising her or anything. And you just hear a bit of whispering that you can't quite perceive. And you see Chris nod. And you see Havel sort of points, and she leads her into one of the locker rooms.
Let's start cleaning stuff up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good work today.
Yeah. Thanks for the invite.
They'll be inviting everyone.
You said don't be, or we should?
We should. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's what the boss says. I guess. Welcome to the Fight Club.
Can we talk about this one? I hope so. That's gonna be making invites real hard.
We'll call it the book club.
Hitting the books, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Will she be all right? I don't. From what I've gathered, you're in charge of her somehow.
It's a process. She'll be fine.
Oh, would have been a good playlist to fight to. Well, I guess we'll add some rhythm to our cleanup.
Okay. So you two work on that for a little bit. It doesn't take you much between your combined strength, and it's not that big of a place. You weren't using everything, but you are mostly just learning the etiquette of if you use the facilities you pick up after yourself. Like, you go to any gym, wiping down any seats, but here's the thing. You're not wiping down sweat that accumulates, but you have occasionally knocked blood out of each other. So you're having to use a little bit of bleach. And you notice in the cleaning supplies, which are very visible, there's a fair amount of bleach. Nobody likes blood on the floor in these places. At least not this one. For obvious reasons. Or at least reasons I hope are obvious. do you actually go about using the bleach to clean up the blood in particular, or do you just go, huh, that's a weird thing?
I'll use the bleach.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Artem of all people would at least make that connection pretty quick.
Yeah.
So you're able to effectuate that little bit of cleanup, a little bit of sterilization of anything left behind. It's not a great concern. There's usually blood left in boxing gyms all the time. You just don't want to turn it into a biohazard. Lots of pathogens are in blood. So, eventually, Chris has walked out wearing some of her previous clothes that she started the night with, not her workout attire. Her face is clean, though whatever makeup she had on is long gone. Her hair is more or less the way it was. Thankfully, you don't develop a sweat when you work out anymore. But she's not really making eye contact at the moment. But she's holding the bag with your combined clothes, unless you plan to go and get changed.
We have plans after this? Probably not.
Not really.
Yeah.
You were doing the wardrobe shopping and then all the additional tool and supply shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say in that time you managed to somehow stuff what was left of the punching bag in your car.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a bit of a tight fit.
Poor Tabby.
Yeah.
I fit in tight places.
I hope so.
So, she looks, or Havel looks at the bunch of you. Next time you want a lesson, give me a call. I can't promise it'll always be available, but we'll see if we can work something out. It won't be free next time, though. This was a favor.
Thank you.
You want me to spread the word to the other new guys or no?
Sure. Considering that you were the two that looked the most physically competent, and I still had to correct you, I imagine there's a lot left to be desired with the others.
So that we are not promising anything inaccurate, will any newcomers, I'm thinking of at least 3, be charged for their first go?
We'll see how bad it is first.
All right.
Come on, the first hit is always free.
Interesting choice of words.
I made an English pun.
Yes, we're all very proud of you. Now, get going.
I have a real quick random question. And she kind of like awkwardly looks it around, but she then turns back to Havel. Did you know the previous sheriff? I only asked because I was told to tell him what happened in Louisville, where I came from, but Prince said he's dead, and I was wondering if there was any significance to that. Not to his death, but...
Out of character. Did you ask the prince that?
I did. At least I recall bringing it up.
Okay.
if that was a mistake, then we'll talk. I had out of character. I had recalled bringing it up, and at least in my memory, it was like he's dead, and then she's like, "Oh, okay."
I don't think he knew.
But maybe I misremember the event.
I don't think it's been discussed, and if anything, it might have been the Primogen, and I don't know if you knew that he was the previous sheriff. But we're going to gloss over this just a tiny bit.
Sorry. I'll just say, did you know a guy named Garrick?
It was the Primogen, FYI.
Okay.
Thank you.
He was the sheriff before Vega. What did you want with him?
When I was fleeing Louisville, my sire said to get in contact with Garrick and tell him what happened. Having to do with the spot. How their whole city was lost.
Seems sadly apropos that he was in fact killed by Sabat. The Sabat used the last hurricane as a weirdly effective cover for storming in. That's an English pun. And doing as much damage to whoever they could find.
I get it.
Unfortunately, he was one of a number of casualties. Your sire didn't tell you to talk to anyone else in particular, just Garrick.
She had said to find Garrick and tell him what happened. Don't quite know what she was hoping I would get out of that.
I imagine it has to do with telling a Nosferatu she was on decent terms with. To either get support or simply to let someone know what was happening. Though it seems the prince was taking you seriously when you mentioned the attack. Tara, I want you to roll perception empathy.
Perception of what?
Empathy. Do you have empathy?
I have yes. I do.
Have yes. Okay.
I have yes.
We're going to put this at a difficulty of 7, because you don't know this person at all. And she spent the last few hours either ringing your bell or having one of the others do it.
Sorry.
I got a fair amount of 10s for a result of 2.
A fair amount of 10s. Are you...
The reason I say that, I rolled 3 dice originally.
Okay.
A 10 turned into another 10, which turned into nothing. But it didn't cancel out.
You don't get to re-roll a re-roll 10.
Okay.
But no, that's still good though. You're catching something in the fact that she's latching on to Sabat, as if there is some importance for her there. And you can't glean what that is. Well, we'll have to talk more about getting you sorted. As I get the impression you're either going to see them again or you want to.
If you mean see the spot again, I sure don't hope for that. Lost everything because of them.
You know what, revenge?
I mean, if they were right here, I'd probably have a go at them, but going after them as a whole did not really occur to me. It was very overwhelming.
Well, then maybe you're smarter than you look. Train, get better. Don't do the dumb thing of hunting them down, but be prepared for when they show up. And they always do. Doesn't matter what city you're in, what continent you're on. They always rear their ugly heads. The best thing you can do is to not join the casualties.
Thank you, ma'am. Or do you prefer looking around at like
Havel.
Thank you, Havel. Miss Havel.
Just Havel.
Thank you, Havel.
Get out.
Turns.
As you're walking out, Chris stops briefly and gives a little look over her shoulder at Havel. She doesn't say anything, she doesn't nod, she just... And she turns and walks out. Pile back into the car. Now, it's going to be a tight fit in this car. Just for the sake of correcting things, I will say you would have gotten numbers. So you can add that to your contact list just to make that a little easier. Now, you're all going in separate directions, I'm assuming. Would Tabby go for a walk, or would you let them drop you off somewhere?
How far? And does or with
You're never far from a sewer.
Yeah. If it's an opening that she imagines she can find, Tabby will go for a walk, heading towards the sewer.
You sure?
Yeah, I mean, it's super tight in there anyway. And
I suppose so.
it's nice out. Got some stuff to think about. Thanks for the invite.
Sure. I'll hit you up if I go again.
Please do.
Okay.
And nice. Did I meet Chris before? Because if not, nice to meet you, Chris.
I'm trying to remember if you've met Chris before.
I think technically for like a couple seconds.
Okay.
If we met before, nice to meet you again. See you again.
And she is weirdly not the most vocal she's been. She just gives you a little sort of head bob nod. And she just tries to stay staring forward. we're gonna split off. We're going to follow Tabby for a little bit. Now, you don't know all the pathways back to the Warrens from here. But you can easily find a place to roost underground. Any manhole will lead you down to the sewers. Much like your life before all this. It's weirdly familiar, perhaps. The difference is, you at least know you have an actual room to go back to. You just might not make it back there tonight. You have a space of your own to look forward to. And maybe in that time that you have, wherever you bed down for tonight, or for the day, you can start to think about what sort of things you'd like to put in your, well, room. You have room to grow. Maybe you can do karate in the garage style until you figure out what you're going to do with all that space. Maybe you can bring Ellie in there to hang out, spar, Lila, Fitz, maybe not Fitz. I imagine you just throw Jub at you and walk away. Or maybe you can go find Cyrus. But you tell me where you're wandering off to and what you're going to be doing, because it's not a lot of time until sunrise at this point. You've done a heist. You've actually been around town a fair amount tonight. But the wee hours are approaching.
Tabby's thinking about what Havel said and about the stuff that she's done so far to better herself. Both the heist and making connections and getting punched several times in her attempts to quicken her pace and reaction time. And she ponders which of these things and perhaps what else is the best way to defend against what Havel calls this inevitability of them showing up in her life again. She thinks about how Ellie has so many connections to literally the internet, but also just is savvy with that and is savvy with technology in a way that Tabby very much isn't. And Tabby wants to be able to fight, at least if someone comes knocking at her new door. But in the meantime, being able to slink around and be secretive seems to be the best and most immediate way for useful betterment. So she will just simply slink back in the vague direction of home, aware that she probably will not make it that far, but just try and spend a good, long, mostly meditative time conceptualizing what it means to move unseen and unnoticed.
Let's see. Let's have you roll. It's going to be stealth as the secondary. why don't you make me an argument for what you'd like to use as your primary? Typically, it's Dex.
Dexterity makes sense. Certainly, since it is what she is trying to work on the most. So, with all of her undead limbs quite sore, she's trying to keep up their pace. I don't know if that means stamina more, but continue to try and really be lithe in the movements.
So, you're trying to do stealth at speed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cover ground.
I'll give you an alternative if that's okay.
Please.
It's one of those learn to walk before you run situations. Being able to sort of look both ways before you cross the street style. You want to be sure of where you're going. You want to be anticipating the next part of where you're stepping, rather than just trying to race it. Racing has not worked out in your favor. So maybe slowing it down, being more deliberate, anticipating, planning. I want to be over there. How do I do that? What is the best way? And maybe a lesson you can take away from Fitz is you wanted to be in that building. You wanted to take something from that building. Right? So work your way backwards. You know where you kind of want to be. You can't really get there the entire way, but you can think of it in smaller steps. I want to get to that block first. So what are the steps I have to take? What are the things I have to consider? Where are the street lamps? Where is all this? Where are the alleyways? Where are people? Are there people?
Mentally mapping out.
Yes. So it's less about speed and more about just deliberate anticipation, planning. That's the key. Speed is when you're always in trouble. Panic causes speed. Speed causes problems. Don't be in a hurry. If all else fails, there's always a sewer you can drop into if you get caught a bit short. So I'm going to have you roll Dex, Stealth, or actually, let's do something a little different. I'm going to have you roll Intelligence. Intelligence and Stealth. Now, no, we're just going to leave that at a 6.
Right. That is 4 successes.
4 successes.
The pendulum swings.
Good for you. Now, as we covered, you're not going to be able to get home in time. But you are finding the right circuitous path that you have to take. You know you can't go in a straight line, but you can worm your way through the city. Sometimes going underground. That's the only way to do it. There's certain intersections you just cannot cross on foot without getting seen, even at this time of night. You can see a few cameras just hanging off of buildings. You know you're going to get seen. So you can just pop underground, pop back up, and then find that right alleyway that you can just get a good long stretch of before you have to do your next contemplation of how you're going to move. And that's when you remember That's often how your sire moved you about town. Large chunks of it were obviously going underground, but she would be strategic about where you would pop back up. And considering her own monstrous nature, she had to be much, much more careful about it. And you can tell me if that brings any amount of solace to dear Tabby. As at least an old lesson is, maybe not for the first time, but at least the first time since you've been in the city, matters. And while you do get closer to where you need to be, you're still short. You know you're going to have to get underground. And you don't quite know how, from where you are, to stay underground and get to the Warrens. You don't know the city that well yet. But if you would like, you can get into the sewers, and you can very easily find a place where light will not be penetrating through. And you can just find a place to bed down. Does that work?
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to add? We will get to final thoughts later, but is there anything you'd like to add? No?
No.
Okay. Artem and Chris, I'm assuming you're heading back to Alden's house.
Yep, that's the plan.
Okay. On the drive, she is very, very quiet.
Yeah, probably one of the, as keys in the ignition, they start rolling. I guess first thing he tries to get a look at her face, see if there's been anything that's changed.
Now, when you are looking at her face, looking for a change, what are you referring to?
The gangrel curse.
You're thinking that she frenzied.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't see anything like that.
Okay.
What you see was more... Well, actually, you roll me empathy and perception. I think everybody's been rolling that tonight.
Perception, okay. Add a 6. Oh, damn. 3.
Nice. You weren't getting frenzy out of it. It was rage, but mostly grief. And her trying to just get something out. It was a person in I think control is not quite the right word, but she was still present.
Yeah. This wasn't supernatural rage, it was just regular rage. Okay.
This was a person having a bad night, not a impending break.
Yeah. Then as we start to roll, I'll ask her, you want to talk or you just want to drive?
What do you want to talk about?
Whatever.
And you see her nervously playing with her hand, sort of massaging the palm. Like her hands have returned to their normal state. But there's almost a phantom limb thought to it. As if trying to calm her hands will prevent it from happening again. So there's definitely a nervous fidget, a worry, a shame. Do we have to talk about it?
No.
Thank you. And you see her grip the handle of the car, or the door. Not where the latch is, but just that handle of the door. As if trying to steady herself. As if gripping on something will keep her from losing coherence. And she'll reach for your hand with the other.
Artem will take it.
Okay. Unless you say or anything else, the drive is quiet the rest of the way.
He's ready to engage if she decides she does want to talk, but I think at a certain point he decides that she probably just wants, a little time to think, a little time to collect. And he'll start thinking instead about, first of all, he's got a lot of new equipment. And he's got a job to do, so thinking about applications for the new stuff that he's bought. Also thinking about, what he was thinking about in the gym, his little flashbacks. Starting to try and think of more like constructive and focused ways that he can increase his strength on Alden's land.
Engaging in practical workouts.
Right.
Well, a lot of trees need moving. I'm sure there's some heavy slabs of siding or roof that needs to be replaced, so you're gonna have your work cut out for you in more ways than one.
Maybe thinking about things he could build too. Like, obviously, he's not going to make a set of dumbbells or whatever. He doesn't know how to do that, but I mean, there's a lot you can do with just a bar, right? Has to be able to hold his weight, but that's the engineering challenge, I guess.
So, you managed to get the charger back to Alden's house. Do you put it back in the barn, or do you put it in front of the house?
He'd probably put it exactly where he found it. It seems like the right thing to do in this situation.
She doesn't get out at first. She looks around the inside of the car. She goes, "Nip along to her,
What?
There was a woman that Alden was seeing for a while. This was her car.
When did he lose her? Was she one of us?
And there's that tremble in her face. Looking for her is how he found me. You know that hurricane they're all talking about? That one.
The Sabbat.
I didn't see them. I just saw the storm. No one really knows what happened to her.
Sounds like they got a lot of people.
I don't know. That's how you should know that before you start driving this all the time.
It's good to know. I was already gonna be careful, but it's good to know.
I need to pass out.
See
you
you
want
tomorrow.
help with this? Do you want help with all that first?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. There's a lot more of a sag in her shoulders as she gets out of the car than you're used to seeing. But you're also not used to seeing her helpful, so there's a lot of things happening. And there's no real fuss to it. The clothing bags, the tools, supplies, they're all put where they need to be put. She even helps you carry some of your bags to your guest house. And that's probably as close to a hug as she's going to give you at this point.
Mm-hmm. Before she takes off, Artem's gonna say, "Hey, I'm not great with people, but I'm a pretty good listener. And I'm pretty good at being there.
Yeah.
If you need anything, you know where to find me."
Good night, Artem.
Good night, Chris.
And she's going to sling her shopping bags. Look up at the house. Take a deep and unnecessary breath. And she disappears to the front door. And we will get back to you for final thoughts in a bit. We're going to touch back with Kate for a little bit, just to go through her questions, and then we will finish the evening off with Elli. So, you're driving, you're seeing some texts that you are ignoring. You are starting to think through some questions you have.
Rook, is this the only city you've been into on this side of the microwave masquerade? Been a long week.
Yeah. Pretty much. Seen other cities, but this is the main one.
Been thinking through court choices here and how they compare to where I was. How you make certain decisions. Trying to learn more about the individuals themselves and not just picking clans for a clan. So I know that factors in.
Is there a question in there?
No, just you were asking me about what I've noticed here, and if I have any questions from here, and it's just an observation.
Thing I'll tell you is that clan factors into it, but each individual has their own motivations. Clan just happens to be part of their equation. Not even necessarily the biggest part of it.
But always a part of it.
For example, what do you know about the Toreador here?
No, Scad seems to be their territory.
What else have you noticed about them?
I haven't got to see much yet. Other than the Toreador New Blood.
A bit flighty and dainty, that one, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. Though, I don't feel like you don't last long if you're only flighty and dainty.
Unless you're useful that way. Great many of the Toreador here are flighty and dainty. Why do you think that is? Aside from the sheriff, anyways.
He seems to be an exception. Though,
good word choice. That's intentional.
Something to think on later. Well, one, you could say that it's a safe place to be flighty and dainty. But having been raised in the South full of who on the outside appear to be flighty and dainty, I know there's no one meaner or sharper than a Southern housewife. Behind the veneer of good manners and good breeding.
The Toreador attempted a coup a few years ago.
Oh, so they're playing tails tucked between their legs. Unthreatening.
Oh, it's better than that. Laveau is not their first primogen.
I imagine key players of a coup wouldn't be allowed to stick around.
Well, but here's the question. Our sire was the previous primogen. The one that made the play. Now, was she actively engaging with it with him? Maybe. Is she allowed to persist for some reason? Maybe. But what do you do instead of erasing a clan?
For them to heal.
Obviously, but one way to do that is to deny them an influx of population. Deny them the right to sire. And yet that hasn't been done here. Instead, a different tactic has been employed. Do you know what it is yet?
Me as the player can't pick up on it.
Okay.
Would Kate be able to?
Probably not.
Okay.
Just seeing if you'd go somewhere with it. Your fellow neonate is a good example.
Needing someone to speak up for you?
Well, perhaps. But the fact that so many of them are not the powerhouses that they could be. If you're not letting them have the cream of the crop, you're just giving them numbers. numerous incompetents. The illusion of you're not being punished. We're letting you have people.
What has been the decision when a competent toreador shows up at court?
That depends on a few things. What can they provide? Are they useful to the court, or are they useful to the clan? For example, after the previous sheriff was killed, certainly needed a new one. And it looks really good on paper. Let the toreador have a competent spot. Because how could they ever say they're not allowed to have something? Look at what they have.
How does she fit into clan politics?
You'd have to ask her. You'd have to ask their primogen. You'd have to ask any of them in the clan. Though I doubt they're willing to share. In the same way that I doubt you'd be willing to share venture business. Or at least I hope not.
That would be a great example of clan incompetence.
Just so.
So we have SCAD, numerous incompetence, and toreador. What kind of roles do the other clans occupy here?
Well, I'm not going to give you everything on our first excursion.
Well, it didn't hurt to ask.
It's enough that you know that strategy is being employed. Strategies are being employed everywhere, at all times. There are no casual decisions being made. Least of all, by us. My telling you is not a casual decision. It is to bring you up to speed. Or at least start to. And see how much you can understand on your own without it being spoon-fed. About 50-50 this time. But no one should ever expect you to just know everything out the gate. If you're grasping half of it, it's at least a start. Just make sure the ratio goes up.
Promise.
Now, we got a little bit of time. Let's take it to the range.
I was going to say, I think you said something about a shooting range.
He's going to look down at your shoes for a moment. Those will do.
Yeah, I've changed out of the heels before all this.
He was still paying attention to it, though. I would argue next time just proper, regular shoes. But it's good to at least get used to the idea of firing in the shoes you normally wear anyways. I know people that can do this in high heels, but they've been doing it a long time. You won't be doing that your first day.
What was the saying? Anything Fred Astaire could do, Ginger could do backwards and in heels?
Sure. But you're neither one of those.
Well, give it time.
For your sake, I hope so. We're going to fade out from there. Unless you had anything you want to add. We will get to final thoughts soon. Elli. Hi, buddy. You've been waiting very patiently, thank you. You and Lila were last seen heading off to go and purloin an automobile. You had found one in a particular color, make, and model. You know the address. Now, this is going to be inside a garage late at night.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So while you have an array of devices, one made by Lila, or at least cobbled together by her. She did some sort of techno science to hack together something that's going to achieve one part of your goal. But before you can even get into the car, you have to get into the garage. And that part, I believe you know how to do.
I do. Is this a parking garage? Is this like a parking garage that is like, you know, the type of commuter parking garage, or is this like
is a garage for a
private and
house.
this is a garage for a house. Okay.
Mm.
First I check if there's camera for the garage, and just in case the front door is nearby, check in for a ring.
So the way that this is going to be set dressed is that there are a great many sort of residential alleyways. You have sort of row houses with a garage in the back. Usually not very well lit, and it's just garages, not even really backyards, just sort of garages attached to the back of houses that get to park here because there aren't street parking in a lot of places, or at least not good street parking.
Okay.
And there's no real cameras that you can see. It's not apparent that there are any, but if you want to double check, you can go ahead and roll for me.
So I guess the main thing for me is that I imagine a garage door opening is going to be very loud. So I would really like, my primary thing at this point is to look around and find like a side entrance, like somewhere where someone's just able to enter without the car.
Oh, I see. So you want to do
I would like the car,
get the car ready to go so that you
ready
can just...
to go before I open the garage door.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I
that's
don't want to
interesting.
open the garage door and then try to get the car going.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, we can say that there's a little doorway sort of on the side of it. It's looking a little older, like it's not used very much. Like people just go into the garage and then into the house rather than side door of the garage very often. It's weathered, a tad bit of rust, but not insurmountable.
I'm just gonna do a little test turn of the knob just to see if it turns.
It turns. It's not the most well-oiled, robust thing, but it'll do. It just might take a little bit of effort.
Right, but it's not. But it doesn't. I'm thinking whether this is so unused that people don't even bother locking it.
Oh, it's locked. Like it turns in the sense that it works.
Yeah,
it
functions. It definitely functions. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Okay. You are gonna have to pick it, or break it. It's up to you.
I'm gonna try picking it.
Okay.
See what I can do.
You have Dex and Larceny.
90% sure I do.
I
have Dex and I have some Larceny.
Okay. We're gonna put this at a. We're gonna put it at a 7 just because the rust quality is gonna make it a little spicy.
Okay. May I argue that I also have someone looking out? So I feel, or did Lila just peace out?
Lila's been gone for 20 minutes.
Lila, can you keep Lila?
Just a dotted line. So at this point, it's less about the stealth aspect.
Got it.
It's kind of the dead of night. You're pretty well hidden, and I'd say as you're settling in, your level of obfuscate probably allows you to almost fade out, and you're moving very, very imperceptibly to do your task. This is more about, can you get this to work?
Got it. Great. Whew, whew. Okay.
But just to be clear, Lila is nearby. She has moved the car, so it's not going to be noticeable. Her car, I mean.
She's moved the car. It's actually already out of the garage.
Yeah. Slowpoke.
All right, here we go. Man, I wish that difficulty was lower. Okay, I think it's a botch, because that's 2 1s and 1 success, and one of the ones takes away.
So botches happen when there are 0 successes.
Okay, so there is a success.
This
it
is
just
just
gets
a
canceled.
failure.
Yeah, gets canceled by the 1, and then there's a 1 on top.
If this was a botch, you would snap it.
The entire garage collapses.
So it just doesn't work. You're not finding purchase where you need to be. This is maybe an older lock you're not used to using, or the rust is just getting in the way.
Okay.
You can either attempt to do it again at a higher difficulty, or you can just break it. Or go through the garage the loudish way.
Is this out of sight of the house? Is this like around the corner from the house? Or
So this is at the very back of the house. Like, this is the part of the house that nobody really looks at because it's part of an alleyway.
Yes, sorry. So this door, if you were looking out the back of the house, would you
wouldn't
this
see
doorway? It. Okay. So I feel a little better about doing a little break of the lock. So I'm gonna try to break it.
Do you have potence?
I have listed potence at 0, so no.
Okay. It's a future investment is the way you've written it down then.
Yeah, basically.
You're gonna have a harder time with that then. Because I'm imagining your strength is not very high.
Listen, it's not 0.
But it's not 2 either, is what you're about to tell me.
Listen, we can talk about numbers all day.
So you're gonna have a hard time doing that. I would let you do strength and larceny if you want to break it, instead of just try and pick it.
All right.
Still gonna be a 7.
Still gonna be a 7.
You know, with the rust, I'll put that back at 6.
Okay. Great.
I'm actually gonna have you do 2 rolls.
Good. Just for fun. Great.
We're just gonna have you. Let's just do the break first, and then we'll do the other roll.
That's 2 10s. 1 gets canceled out by a 1, and then another success. So I'm gonna roll one of those. Okay, 2 successes.
Okay. So now what we're gonna do is, the door's open, but we're gonna do Dex and Stealth to see how well you controlled this, to see how well you kept it, the decibel level down.
Okay. Dex and Stealth, you said? And same 7.
I'll put it at a 6.
6. Right. Three. One was
Nice.
a 10 that I rolled again, and that was a success. Again.
Maybe you looked at this initially wrong. You were thinking of it just the rote exercise of picking a lock rather than the reality of, God, it would be so much easier if I just ripped that off. It's basically held on by spit and hope. I could just wrench. Oh, it's barely there. It's almost as if just enough rot had seeped into it that it's not even really snapping as much as peeling. Perhaps leftover property damage from the hurricane everyone's been mentioning. Or previous ones. Either way, it's more gummy than you wanted it to be, but it comes right off. And you're able to push the door in. And the intended prize of that car is right there. Your not sponsored Honda Odyssey. Honda, I am waiting for your emails.
You mean the 8-passenger Honda Odyssey that... sorry.
So much trunk space.
Optional OnStar.
Can fit 3 Nosferatu in the back.
All right,
That's not part of the advertisement. So
but it could be.
So here's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Did Lila give me the device already to try to access the Odyssey?
Yeah.
Great. Second question.
Mm-hmm.
Looking into the car, does it look like it has one of those, like, here's how to control the here's how to open the garage? Great.
If it's not like one of those clip-on ones you put on the sun visor, then it's one of those ones you program. So it's probably on like the rear view mirror, like one of the buttons underneath it, something like that. You can figure that out pretty quick.
Great. Awesome. I'm gonna take my phone out. I'm gonna text Lila, like, I'm in. About to leave right now.
Okay. So you're gonna wait to. You're not gonna open the garage. You're gonna get into the car first. Is what you got to do.
I'm gonna get into my plan, the step-by-step process.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a smart plan. Is I'm going to get into the car. I'm going to turn the car on while it's in the garage. Open the garage with the car.
Mm-hmm.
Back out.
No, it makes sense.
Back out with the lights off.
You got to get the car open first. I understand the plan, but just let's get the car open.
Okay.
I see where you're going. It makes perfect sense. It's brilliant. Let's just do it. But first, let's see if you can get this thing to open.
Oh, God.
Because maybe Lila knows exactly how this thing works because she's the one that cobbled it together. So you're gonna have to roll me... Oh. What's higher, intelligence or wisdom for you?
Do you mean wits?
Wits.
Intelligence is higher.
Okay. Do you feel like you're in a hurry? Or do you feel like this is controlled?
Considering I don't think that my entry made a lot of hullabaloo, I would say Ellie at this point feels in control.
Okay. So you're nominally on a clock, but not one that's rapidly ticking down. You got a lot of time to work with. So you're not feeling rushed. You can take this at the pace that you want it to go. Much like with Tabby earlier, this is not about speed. This is about just, I know the steps I need to take. I just have to anticipate them, plan ahead. We're staying thematic. So, you're going to roll me intelligence and technology, I believe. Which I believe you have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're in your wheelhouse. We're just going to do it as a 6. Now, if you botch on this, you never get to give Tara shit again.
Roll the 1.
What's the rest of this?
Nothing.
Nothing.
There's
just
not
a
a single
straight
roll
botch.
above a 4.
Out of how many dice?
8.
No.
I just want you to say, I want to say that I'm just so glad everyone's here for this tonight. So no successes and a single 1, so very much a botch. You, in your technological hubris, thought you were dialing into the right signal to unlock the car, disarm the security, but what you really did is activate the alarm, and it is screaming as loud as it can go. All that clock just ran out.
Okay. I just want to agree with Martel in chat that clearly this is Lila's fault, because when Lila's
You
involved,
hear
everyone
tire wheels
botches.
screeching.
Damn it!
No. Okay.
Okay,
You got
well,
seconds to make a choice here. What are you trying to do? Are you going to try and salvage this, or are you going to run?
Okay. Out of character, if this is a thing where Ellie wants to get one freaking thing right and wants to get this done, so is going to okay. Ellie is going to use Face of 1,000, the Mask of
1,000
faces, to look like the face of the mortician, that because you have to be someone you're familiar with. So of the mortician that we had stolen from earlier, and is going to break the window and get in. Is there a brick nearby? Oh, I don't have strength. That's a stupid idea.
Hence the how.
That was your question, not that do I have the tools available. Was can you literally do that? Got it. Is it possible I can now try to figure it out and use a willpower to actually get in the car?
I would say you'd have to use a willpower at this point, just to even
Why?
do it.
What evidence could show you that maybe I should use a willpower? Okay, great.
Because here's why I'm going to say that. And I'm sure everyone here can understand this thought. If you hear a car alarm in the middle of the night, somewhere the fuck over there, You don't care. You hear it in your own garage, different thought.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it's 3 or 4 a.m., you're getting up and you're going to go deal with that. So,
thankfully, the person is a very nice couple in their 70s who are going to
that
take a
own
while.
guns.
Okay. We're going. So now the music is stressing me out.
You're in control of the music, so you did this to yourself in
That's
so
true.
many ways.
Yes. So gonna try to. I'm using a willpower to guarantee a success so that I can get into the car while using Mask of 1,000 Faces to look like someone else.
Just in case.
Really
someone
hope
sees
that no one decides to. Yeah, in case
Okay.
someone sees me. Really hoping no one takes out their phone. Like.
So again, you're gonna have to roll.
Good.
It will be at a higher difficulty. So this is going to be a 7. And you're using a willpower. So this is, in a way, a foregone conclusion, but I want to see how well you do this.
Okay. Is it still the same roll?
Yep. It's just at a higher difficulty, so it's going to be a 7 now.
Are you... I got... So I have 1 1. I have 2 10s and a 7. So one of those 10s I roll. And that's a non-success, but that's 2 successes plus the willpower for 3 successes.
Okay. You're able to get into the car. You've taken over the remote start. Is really what this is about, because you weren't just unlocking the car, you were subverting the system so that you can do everything you need to do. You've unimmobilized the engine. So
am I
now
able to stop the alarm?
You are.
Great.
But here's the thing. Do you want to focus on the alarm or do you want to focus on getting out?
I should focus on getting out. I don't know how fast the person in the house is.
You don't know if they keep their guns loaded.
I'm realizing I should have checked who it's registered under, because then I could have done that research beforehand.
Well, then it's not a wasted exercise, because now you know for next time.
Okay.
So you're going to be scrambling for a few seconds to try and figure out how the garage opens.
Yeah.
And in your panic, you either got it's basically 2 options. It's a thing on the sun visor or something on the overhead or on the rear view. So fumbling, you can get that open. And maybe it's your own perception of things, but it's so much slower than it should be.
Oh God, no.
Maybe it's the stress and panic. Time has slowed down, or it's just rickety as shit. You don't know.
I imagine it's loud as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You were right to take the car first.
Yep.
If only it worked out that way.
That's great.
So, it takes an agonizing amount of time for that to get up to level before you can peel out. Now, the question is, can you actually drive? You're all new, so you're all from this century, this time period. You all have drive by default. I made sure of that, but do you have more than that?
So I have one in drive. My experience driving has usually been driving a medical van.
Okay. So this is going to be a little more gusto than that. Still a van-ish kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say Ellie is used to bigger cars than like the sporty stuff that others are used to.
So I would say you have probably more capacity to drive this than most people would.
Yeah.
I would even say, to a certain extent, more than Cora, but at the same time less, because she probably knows how to throw this around a track under a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of just getting in and getting really familiar, this is a lumpen object that you're probably more used to than most other cars. So you can peel this out, but the question is, how graceful is it? Do you hit the fence and or garage adjacent? How panicked are you right now?
Ellie is definitely in panic mode. They are definitely like the agonizing slowness of the thing plus just not having just so like Ellie's just running through all the motions of like in their head of where to go next to try to not be seen.
So interesting. Okay. Let's just get you out of the garage first. So we're going to do... I'm going to do wits and drive. Because we're seeing how much you're paying attention into this. This is less about the speed control and more just your own emotional control right now. So wits and drive. We're just going to do 6.
All right.
You can actually hear Cora just seething in the background right about now. But she was killed in a cemetery earlier tonight, so it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's not a botch, but it is a failure.
Okay.
I had a 9 canceled out by a 1 and another 1.
In your panic, you hammer down on the accelerator, at least going reverse.
Oh, thank God.
So you do clear the garage, but you break the adjacent garage door a little bit.
Oh, okay.
You didn't shatter anything. It's just the shape of the van is more just maybe scuffed the window as you just realize in your panic to stop. But the speed has already been done. And that's another alarm that goes off. Of a different car in a different garage.
Okay.
You see Lila flip the headlights a couple of times.
I wonder why. So I'm gonna now that I have like actual control of the car, I'm going to back out, still with the lights off, because maybe at the very least people can't just like be seeing exactly where the car is, or at least are confused a little bit.
Lights are starting to come on in the house that you just left.
Great. They're just starting to. That's fine.
But in a cascade.
That's not great, but it's okay. Cool.
What
Do
are you
I
doing?
get out onto the street?
Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love to. I would love to not be here. I would love to teleport to another side of the world, but I don't think that's possible. But I would love to get out onto the street, and hopefully Lila has decided not to be in my way.
No, you're in your own way enough as it is.
That's great.
I can actually see you die a little bit on the inside. I will say you're able to make it out on the street, though maybe not in a straight line.
Good.
And I would say you peeling out on the street is where we're going to fade out for now. And we will pick up with your daring escape into the night in the new year. But before we do that, we're going to give our final thoughts of the year. We're going to start with Ellie because the wounds are fresh.
Let's see. Oh God, oh God. What's going to happen? This is definitely going to cause a lot of attention. Can I even keep this car after someone reporting it missing and it clearly having like a damaged side at some point? Ellie's focus now is just about getting out of here and not causing any more trouble, and maybe going back to their little hidey hole and never coming out again.
Your little shame shack.
Yes.
Well, we'll see how that works out next time. This could be an example of escalating investment.
Good.
Can we leave you there? Sam, can I leave you there? Okay. Let's go to Kate. Well, what you got?
So Kate has a lot of new things to be on the lookout for. Trying to start thinking like someone in security would. Focusing in more on as she interacts with the different clans here as to what might be the story for Savannah specifically. Keeping an ear out for phrases or hints. Got a few new bloods that are worth continuing to invest in for a couple of different reasons. Speaking of, at this point on the way to the shooting range, she will finally message back in the group message. Cora, are you still with us?
I like to think that the episode focuses in on this text that is blinking and then fading out the credits. Snake. Anything else you'd like to add?
I think we're good.
Okay. Tabby.
As Tabby falls asleep in this little nook of the sewer, she's once again on the optimistic side. There's already been a little bit of improvement. Not visible yet, but can sense new muscles are literally being flexed. The multiple licks that she has taken since arriving in Savannah have been taken. And in a small, mostly ritualistic, symbolic way rather than a real way. First night on her own in Savannah of just kind of being where the sun won't get her, but not being home, not being in a known safe place. Definitely not like she's survived a very big trial of a night, but in a almost kind of like I'm camping. Just kind of like we're this is not the thing. This is not surviving in the wild, but this is I'm doing the nature thing. We're doing we're doing it day by day. Day one. Let's go.
You're doing it, Peter. You're doing it.
She feels like her botch curse has temporarily lifted.
It's been
transferred.
Yeah.
It's spreading.
Well, we were talking about diseases earlier, so...
It comes for us all.
Oh no, he's come down with the botch.
Botulism?
Hey.
It kills us all.
I'm so proud of you. All right. Do you have anything else? Artem.
Yeah, so pretty successful day, all things considered. We got some new stuff, got some new clothes. Won't be running around looking like a TikTok anymore. Feeling a little apprehensive at the idea that he's going to need to pay for the next lesson. He's not sure what that means, but he's had a couple of people mention that now, so it's probably a game he's going to have to start playing soon. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a lot to offer, unfortunately, but we'll see what they'll take, I guess. It seems like making progress with Chris too, so that's a positive. She is telling him things he feels like she wouldn't necessarily have if he wasn't, so it's good. Overall, pretty good.
Say more or less things are working out for him.
For now.
For now. Now for the one that I've been wanting to unpack. Hi, Cora.
Hi. Cora's knight.
Go on.
I think ultimately it was thrilling. She may be learning the wrong lessons because she keeps doing that thing that she does, pushing the limit and having it pay off for her. And, you know, sometimes she gets burned, but this time she didn't. So, is she shocked? Yes, absolutely. What does this all mean, ultimately? On like a spiritual level, on a reputational one. She's not thinking about those things right now, but she will be soon. Probably after she's finished walking out of this cemetery with Costello. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, I'd say that's a fun little point to leave the year on. Thanks everyone for playing. Thanks everyone for watching. Keeping up with us so far. Look forward to seeing you in the new year. Please tune in to our recurring D&D game as it's getting into its own crescendo, and our recurring Star Wars game. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.